People who actually like their jobs. What do you do? I'm an environmental geologist. I like uncovering the history of a property, and working outdoors is enjoyable when the weather is nice. I don't love every aspect. Of course, paperwork can be tedious. Often the weather is bad, and telling clients bad news is intimidating. But it's satisfying when the pieces of a problem fall together. I'm a flight attendant. Absolutely love my job. Thinking about going to flight school to be a pilot though, but nothing beats getting paid to travel the world. Go get your pilot license, there is no better time to. That's what I have been doing over the pandemic, and it's been super fun. I am a loader for a distribution warehouse as my 40-hour job. I like it, but I keep it for the money and health insurance. But my second job, I am the regional director for a non-for-profit that helps guys with transitional housing when they get out of prison. We also help homeless guys on occasion and people who just need a hand up. That is my real passion. I lived in a house like this whilst sobering up. I was one of the only dudes there not on paper. I just wanted to say that even though it's thankless work, you do make a difference to those that are wanting a change. I made it out. I've been sober for 3.5 years and have a beautiful little family. Cheers to you and all you do for the fellas. Receptionist at a very small company where I also fill in when other departments are short-handed. Everyone is nice, with very few exceptions, and no one cares if I have an AirPod in and Netflix playing as long as crap gets done. For the railroad as a signalman, I work at a small station, so I am alone all shift, can browse Reddit, don't need to deal with office drama, and if no train is on my section of the line I can watch Netflix. I work at a museum and do data cleanup for our collections database, and I'm also getting us ready for a digital assets management system. So I do a lot of tedious cleaning in our database, correcting typos, deleting erroneous information, fact checking, etc. And eventually I'll split my time between that and cleaning up actual files, checking metadata, running checksums, deleting duplicates, etc. It sounds boring, and kind of is, but if you're the kind of meticulous type A person who loves organizing and making things tidy, and you also like falling down research rabbit holes, it can be entertaining and pretty satisfying. Not a lot of museums have a dedicated typo corrector on staff, so my job is pretty unheard of, but people who work in museums that hear what I do are always so amazed that my institution has someone like me fixing everything, albeit slowly. There's a lot of errors. It's pretty universal that museums all have messy butt data and no one with time to fix anything. Make wood for construction site. Only have to work roughly 16 days a month and make more than I ever did as an electrician, and without any of the stress. 4 on, 4 off swings should really be the norm for work-life balance, and I'm unsure if I'll ever be able to go back to working Monday to Friday. I'm an accountant. Grew up as the artsy type that everyone thought would be a traveling musician or music teacher. I thought I hated math and that I was bad at it growing up. Turns out I had untreated ADHD. I took a job as a teller in my early 20s and realized I really loved balancing things. Got my degree, and now I enjoy a job where every day I'm problem solving and investigating. Everything is a puzzle, and I love it. Accounting is way more than numbers and balancing. I'm so happy in my job. I work in industry. I did not like public accounting. I feel accounting rules, but frick public. I was a phlebotomist at a blood bank. People came in to donate blood voluntarily, so I never had to hold any nervous kid down to take their blood, and you're literally saving lives. Library clerk basically means I'm at the front desk all day every day, answering every question under the sun, watching how the joy lights up a person's face when I unite them with a book they want to read, helping people in dark times, and being around a bunch of other people who do the same thing and love it, too. I'd absolutely love to be a librarian when I grow up. I'm a student right now and I work 2 days a week shelving books at my local library. I love shelving, which sounds silly but it's fun. I love reading, but more so just helping people find what they need, and I hope someday I can work as a librarian. Helping adults obtain their high school equivalency and learn computer customer service skills. It's very rewarding helping those students who didn't finish high school because of personal family matters or undiagnosed learning disabilities. On the other end of the spectrum, it is very humbling teaching students more educated than me, for example, graduate degrees from their home country. I work on highways, like building bridges, making barriers, pouring cement for the road itself, etc. I honestly couldn't imagine myself staying in a job where I sit in front of a computer just typing away, cause it just bores me. I already went to school and didn't enjoy that kind of stuff at all. Building roads sounds satisfying. I recently started working as a late night laboratory technician mixing chemicals and crunching numbers. I get paid to make liquids change colors and watch Hulu. Believe it or not, I'm answering this question and I'm an accountant. I have always loved spreadsheets, and now I get to play with them all day. I love making things make sense. So when a purchase order matches with an invoice and I can file the receipt and remittance, all squared away, it makes me happy. But my true passion is helping people. I am an accounts payable at a disability support provider. I don't speak to clients anymore, but I know that every invoice I pay, every service that is paid for accurately, is something that has helped someone live a better life. Someone on here once said I'm helping the world, one spreadsheet at a time, and I love that. Along with my spouse and my cats, I am living my dream. Surprisingly, I hear that from accountants a lot. My grandfather was an accountant and he used to say the exact same thing. He almost thought of it as a puzzle that he got to solve every day. I'm a dog groomer. Yeah, I get bit, scratched, pooped on, peed on, thrown up on, soaked with water, covered in dog hair that gets inside my skin, eyes, nose and mouth. But I get to make puppies pretty, and all dogs are puppies. The only times I've cried during my job was cause a request dog died or the dog was fighting me so much because it was in pain from skin tight mats. It's hard to see that kind of neglect and abuse from man's best friend. Custodian. There's something nice about cleaning an almost empty school listening to podcasts or music. Plus we occasionally get free pizza from events. Not current, but I used to be a camp counselor each summer. Did it for several years. Ran around playing sports, swimming, watching Pixar movies and eating snacks with a bunch of goofy kids. Half my co-workers were hot college girls. The pay was basically nothing, but at the time I was an assistant teacher at a public school, so terrible pay was all I knew. It was the happiest place I've ever been to and I miss it daily. Nice. That's exactly what I do. Well, I'm an assistant teacher at a public school and then have my summer camp gig. It's so much fun, but yeah, the pay for both my jobs sucks. Make like $35k a year. HR temp. People write in and ask me about their benefits or about stressful situations they're in, and I write back and answer their questions, connect them to someone who can help guide them through their stuff. I genuinely feel helpful and I like that. Emergency medical technician. I have good days and bad days. Management, hospital staff, patients, and co-workers can be butt sometimes. The pay is butt too, but the job itself? It's pretty sweet. Working feels like a road trip. No day is ever the same. Beats being stuck in a cubicle or having to please customers. Medical device engineer. I work in research and development, mostly on finalizing designs for new products coming to market. I don't touch manufacturing because that's stressful. I mean, R&D can be stressful too, but mostly it's not. Projects take a while. But medical engineers are a tad more social and fun than the traditional engineers I knew when I worked designing test frames for circuit breakers. Thing is, it requires an engineering degree, and those are hard to get. I'm not a huge fan of the pay, but I work for a non-profit organization that houses women straight out of incarceration for 6-12 months, helping them get back on their feet, building a relationship with them, joking with them, watching them grow, is the most fulfilling thing I have ever done. I love my job so much. That sounds incredible. Thank you for the work you do. I'm a high school English teacher and I love what I do. I love literature and poetry. Being able to share my love of that with students is amazing. When I can make a student like Shakespeare, I feel like I've won the lottery. As well, I love getting to know my students. I love being able to learn about their interests, their passions, and what excites them. I have a small group of boys who like to hang out in my classroom before school. They tell me about their hobbies, cars, video games, hunting, tell me jokes, and just act like themselves. I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's my favorite time of day. They are lucky to have you. I absolutely love every day I work as an EMT. A majority of the people you work with are inspired and driven to make the worst day in someone's life better. It's active enough to keep you from feeling stagnant. You get to sleep or generally just mess around with your crewmates when you don't have any calls or duties. You get plenty of fresh air and get to do a ton of cool crap. Ride helicopters, drive an ambulance, meet celebrities in many cases, etc. My crewmates feel like a second family and we make our station a second home with BBQs, potlucks, celebrations, playing video games during downtime, competitions, you name it. It's a beautiful job if you can look past the abysmal pay considering the things you're expected to do. Mechanical engineering in research and development. I'm one of the rare engineers who actually gets to see parts from the cradle to the grave. I take parts from concept, 3D model them, perform all kinds of dimensional and stress analysis for them and their assemblies, create drawings, get bids for their manufacture, oversee the contract to get them made, get them in and verify they meet our specifications, test them, get them to the field, and monitor and update their designs based on their performance. I've done all parts of that process at one time or another for different projects. I made it a point to make lateral moves to be really well rounded, so even if I'm not indispensable, I always provide something, which lets me push to do the parts of the process I enjoy most, while mentoring or contributing guidance to others doing the parts I don't, while not having to do them myself. I am an IT professional for a school district. While I love what I do, it's mainly the people I work with that make me love it so much. Excellent work atmosphere and culture that makes you want to show up for work. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I get enough work to be able to pay my bills and live reasonably comfortably, and I don't have to work that many hours a week, which is the biggest plus, so I have tons of time to hang out with my cats and work on music and play video games. I texture characters in animated movies. I texture Squidward, Gary and SpongeBob in the latest movie, Rocky and Rubble in Paw Patrol, the movie etc. The pay is good too. Preschool teacher's assistant. It's physically demanding and mentally draining some days, but 95% of the time it's beautiful and rewarding. I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect job where you can be happy 100% of the time, so I really think this is about as close to perfect as it can realistically get. It's a job I admire greatly as a parent, one I wouldn't have the patience to ever do myself. You guys enrich those kids' lives so much. I work as the head chess coach for an esports educational company. I develop educational material, professional grade educational videos, and provide live coaching for middle high schoolers. It doesn't even feel like I'm working. Call center rep for an HVAC company. Relatively stress free, no real thinking required. Just answer phone, fill out ticket, shuffle them to the right line. I can't get over how stressful the past few other jobs have been. This is great during the pandemic. Pay is not good, but whatever. I'll have to move on soon, but I really don't want to. I wish money was not an issue. I'd be happy doing this for the rest of my life. I'm a programmer embedded on a specialized clinical data research group, and it's pretty ideal. Everything everybody uses is something I personally made. It's just comfy and secure. Pays plenty enough. Could totally be making more, but at this point I'm kinda why bother. I am an 8th grade history teacher. I have been out with COVID for the last week, and for another 5 days. I am irritated because I can't be there with my students. I am vaxxed and boosted and still caught the little sucker. Luckily his was fairly mild. Business consulting. Love to hear problems and then magically pull out solutions from the hat. Laptop. I'll typically encounter 2 types of problems. 1. Problems that I've heard before and there's a ready template solution for the client. I would not waste their time or mine. Won't bill a ton. Just tell them what they are doing wrong and the fix. 2. Problems that I've not heard before. I love these problem statements. Would sit with client, brainstorm, Come up with solution, implement and see results. Iterate for best results. Retail sales. I work 6 hours a day, have a 5-minute commute, always in air conditioning, never sweaty or tired at the end of the day, spending most of my day chit-chatting with customers and co-workers. That gets written off as customer engagement, while doing little menial upkeep tasks on the side. I could do a lot better for myself, at least double what I'm being paid now, but this job is so easy, casual, and has a lot of friendly faces. It's so nice. I'm afraid going somewhere else will mean working with hard-nosed buttholes chasing a buck. I've worked these places before. I am an introvert, but I consider this my social skills training gig. 2. I rehabilitate web software development teams that have serious problems. It's nice as these teams have nowhere to go but up and they really just need someone to push for very obvious changes and fight for the developers. I also get paid a ton of money and, for the most part, get to work less than 40 hours a week. I'm a supervisor at one of the world-leading auction houses. I get to work with all sorts of amazing antiques and paintings and hobnob with the 1%. Have you ever had any bad customers? I got interested in computers way back in the 70s. During my first engineering job I proposed changes to the code for some in-house factory modeling software and those changes got accepted. I bought the IBM PC when it first came out with not only one but two 8-inch floppy disk drives. Then I researched computer languages and decided to learn C. Hey, if it was good enough for Bell Labs it was good enough for me. Started doing freelance programming in tech and construction and writing my own stuff on the side. Ended up writing, and endlessly improving, software for my own company that is now used by half of the top construction companies in the world. Just sold the company and retired. And all because I thought coding was pretty cool and interesting. BTW, I had an engineering degree, never studied programming, no computer science classes, all self-taught. If I could do it, you can too. If I could do it, you can too. The trick is to start in the 1970s, when computing was a new industry and the barriers to entry were low. I'm not saying it's impossible now, but it is significantly harder. I'm a graphic designer at a screen printing company. I graduated from art college back in 2016 and was struggling to find a good fit until this last year. I finally found a place where I feel appreciated and my skills are being recognized. I'm the happiest I've ever been at any job, ever. I'm a laser and lighting designer for concerts. I get to put on the editor show that complements the music. It's 1/3 of why you go to concerts, besides that incredible sound systems and the music itself. I'm an author, and I absolutely love it. It's tough, difficult work that requires a massive amount of perseverance and patience, but when the moment hits and you see another book on the shelves, it's fantastic. I've published a number of books, the most recent a fantastic little fantasy paperback about a dragon who sets out to earn her hoard by founding a bank. It's been wonderful to see copies of that selling on shelves as far away as Germany and Brazil, winging away around the world. I teach at a law school. The job has its ups and downs, but I love interacting with my students and I love the fact that it kind of forces me to keep learning new things. Additionally, I get to run the legal aid center of the law school, so I get to actively give back to the community. I'm a high school teacher and I absolutely love it. I love the part when I can teach students something new and to be the best version of themselves. But what I love the most about the job is how I can learn so much from these kids. Every day something new. Engineer. Interestingly enough, I just changed companies and just the simple culture change has made me go from hating my job to enjoying it. I actually took a small pay cut, but letting go of the golden handcuffs was incredibly freeing. Anyone in this thread that is contemplating a similar move, the potential life enjoyment and mental health improvement is worth it several times over. Forensic chemist. Spend my days in the lab, but we don't always have samples to analyze, so there's a lot of chatting with co-workers and other things to spend the time. I'm a pathologist that specializes in diagnosing diseases of the bone marrow and lymph nodes. Excited to do it every day I sit down at my microscope. Sushi chef. 18 years and going. Been doing it long enough to see little kids become adults and start bringing their own family. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.